In 2021, retail investors learned a lot about things they hadn't talked about before. Stuff like failures to deliver and naked shorting and payment for order flow. And we've talked a lot about that here on Meme Markets, a sense of how market structure should change and how it should benefit retail investors. Few of those conversations were as exciting or popular as the one we had with Dr. Suzanne Trimbath. And now Dr. Trimbath is back to talk about how what we learned in 2021 will inform what we do in 2022, if at all. I'm Thornton McHenry, and this is Meme Markets. In terms of this year and going into next year, do you think any structural changes are afoot?
Despite what all of the meme stock investors would like you to believe, I don't think that they've changed anything systemically. I think rather the opposite, that the system has changed them. Many of them have been forced to look behind the curtain and see what the wizard is really doing back there. They have taken the red pill and found out what the matrix really is, in the sense that they were enslaved under this idea that these ideal capital markets and everybody gets a fair shake and every little company can raise money and everybody can win, which is a nice, lovely dream. The most recent SEC proposed rule was about just reporting, tracking contracts for stock loan. Not about making sure that their record keeping is clean. Not about making sure that retail investors know when they don't have real shares, they don't have IOUs. None of that was in there. It's all about sustaining, perpetuating a system that in fact is deeply flawed.
Direct registration of shares has become an incredibly popular fad among retail investors. There's really been a push to sort of use the system against itself in a lot of ways by retail investors. And how effective do you think that has been?
Direct registration, in my view, is the game changer, right? So that's where you stop intermediation. The problem with intermediation, where you give your money to a broker and then the broker goes to the market for you, and is that broker now disrupts your relationship with the company. You're an investor, there is an investee, and the investee is that company, like GameStop or AMC. That company is the investee. When you put the broker in between there, you disrupt that relationship, okay? So direct registration allows you to have a direct contact, right? You are now registered as an owner, and therefore the company can communicate directly with you and you with the company, because they now recognize you as a shareholder. So a lot of people posting comments that they were having trouble getting their shares away from the broker and into direct registration. And that goes back to the core problem that we saw in January, which is that they were being sold shares that didn't exist. Okay, the whole system is designed so that the broker can sell you shares all day and deliver you nothing. And so when you have nothing in your account, you cannot directly register nothing in your name. And people were taking months. Some of them took, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, delay after delay. Oh, we're not in that program. Oh, we'll have to charge you $700. Oh, and let me tell you, when in the past, a company tried to get out of DTC by having all of their shareholders register their shares in their own names, they heard all the same excuses. The only difference is that GameStop didn't go bankrupt, and so they weren't able to delete all the positions.
Now there's a push by retail investors asking sort of the big meme stocks to tokenize shares, the companies to tokenize their shares almost as NFTs to fight the shorts. That seems to be sort of the next level, like a crypto version of DRS. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a realistic play? Do you think that's something that could actually work to keep short sellers at bay?
I don't see that it adds anything that doesn't already exist in direct registration. Of course, no one issues certificates anymore, but if you had a certificate, it's the same as that. The problem with certificates could get lost. Guess what? You can lose your NFTs as well. More money has been lost that way than actual currency is lost in the United States every year. People throwing pennies on the street. You leave money in the couch that you throw out into the trash. So I don't see that as really adding value, right, or being an innovative way to stop short sellers, track shares. You stop short sellers when you get the share registered in your name, because you make it harder and harder for them to be able to borrow shares to cover.
So if you had to pick one thing you think might change next year, one thing that might come from this 2021 of sort of massive interest in market structure and short selling and all the stuff we've talked about this year, there's one thing you think is going to change, what would it be?
Honestly, I think a lot of people are going to lose interest in, the whole meme stocks, Reddit, etc. I could be very wrong on that, but I don't see that that's sustainable, because people will become disgruntled. Roaring Kitty hasn't posted anything new on YouTube since August. I think people hopefully are beginning to see what a pump and dump scheme is. People will begin to see that and begin to recognize that buy and hold is, and you see a lot of this on Reddit and Twitter as well, buy and hold is a solid investment strategy. Hopefully that gamification part of it, this casino capitalism, I would hopefully like to see some of that go away in 2022.
It's always good talking to Dr. Turnbath. Her book, Naked, Short, and Greedy, is on sale now. So how do you think what we learned about in 2021 will affect how we trade in 2022? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, hit like and subscribe for more meme market.